sparked this set of programs. And I must say that all the other fathers who have been encouraging us in this organization, the sisters who have been participating with the help of the teachers. And here I would like to mention especially two people. One I would call as my principal, Reverend Brother Albert Longley, who is very much present with us with a smile. And the other is my own teacher who is present here, and my guide who guided me in this topic. She is very much present here. Professor S.M. Sungo, very much present here. She is ready to evaluate me. And it's a joy that I'm presenting this in front of such august gathering, particularly the teachers of various schools and the college. It's a joy that something that is trending today is shared with the teaching community so that we all benefit and try to make use of this for the benefit of our own student community. So while thanking everyone, I would like to start my presentation, and let us see how well we can proceed through this session. As I ask you to go through this session, I want you to have a reflective person within you. As you go through these multiple intelligences, I want you to see within yourself how much of it each one of us has within us, and how slowly and gradually we'll be able to identify in our students. And secondly, I would like to tell you, I'm not going to tell you anything new. This is everything we all know. But here I'm here to reiterate that when we enter into the classroom, we need to become conscious of ourselves. We need to become conscious of our students and their need. Then we will be able to understand this multiple intelligences concept in the best manner possible. Now, I have borrowed this particular slide from our third week's resource person, who gave us the program, Father George Palamattathil. He told us that every student, every individual is a genius. And he quoted this particular, he showed this particular slide and quoted Albert Einstein, where he said, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Now we need to, as I told you, reflect ourselves. Do we first of all consider ourselves to be genius? And that particular thought process is transferred to our students. So in that sense, every student is a genius. I know there are few of us who have taken into teaching because there is no choice of another profession. There are few of us who have taken to teaching because we are looking for some other opportunity in the intermediate period, somehow get into teaching because it's the easiest profession we can come in. There are teachers who are completely committed because they have chosen this profession as a choice. So there are different types of teachers, but we have accepted the responsibility to be a teacher first. And we are committed to fulfill those responsibilities. In that, what happens? Each of our students is different. We are called to cater to the needs of our students. And what are our students? We need to support them, support our students for their individual growth. Most often, what are we? We just select a few brilliant students and we teach to them. Or we select a few who are very, very supportive to us as teachers and we teach only to them. There are occasions inside the classroom, we look for students who are very responsive to our questions and we teach only to them. And the rest are forgotten story. And when we have the parents meeting, what do we say? Your child does not open the mouth. How do I help? Your child does not interact. How do I help? But remember, teachers, we are committed to every individual student who has been placed inside our classrooms. I'm a strong believer who believes that every child that is born today is more intelligent than the child that is born the previous day. Because God who creates us is full of variety, that he creates wonderful human beings every time. Many have tried to study similar human beings to one, but have failed all the time. So, dear teachers, today let us go into this particular concept with a background that each child, each student in front of me inside the classroom or in the school is entirely unique. Unique because they come from diverse backgrounds, because they have been born and brought up in a different background. Even a nursery child to the highest level of education to a research scholar, they all experience different backgrounds. They have undergone variety of experiences in life. Every experience teaches us a lesson. So they have learned a lot of lessons, and they have their own sets of beliefs and expectations. They have different profile. Physically, they are different. Mentally, they are different. Emotionally, they are different. And you can bring in many more such criterion to prove that each child is different. I've taken a few. And having said that each child is unique and different, there comes the theory of multiple intelligences. In the year 1983, Howard Gardner, who is the proponent of the theory of multiple intelligences, he published a book called Frames of Mind, where he introduced the multiple intelligences theory, where he stated very clearly that he does not believe in human beings having the same intelligence called, what is the test we always have? Intelligence test, which tests a little bit of language, a little bit of maths. But can we bring in all human beings into this? He asked questions, for example, the differently abled children, where even the mentally retarded, the not so intelligent children, they all have something in them that keeps them moving. They have different types of intelligences in them. And therefore, he came up with 7 types of intelligences in his first book, Frames of Mind, in 1983. He went on in 1993, after 10 years of having brought out the theory of multiple intelligences, he said he added one more intelligence. And we will move on to those 10 multiple intelligences now. One is linguistic intelligence. Some people prefer to call it as word smart. The next is logical mathematical intelligence. These 2 intelligences are tested in our IQ, intelligence quotient tests. He also came with musical intelligence. He came with bodily kinesthetic intelligence or body smart. He came up with visual spatial intelligence, picture smart. He said there are interpersonal intelligence, people who are people smart. And what about people who are not people smart? Intrapersonal intelligence. And the people who are nature lovers, naturalistic intelligence. And he went on to describe. Here I would like to present you in 3 aspects. In a simple way, I would like to present you in 3 aspects. One is, what is this linguistic intelligence, like any other intelligence? And what are their abilities? What are the abilities of these students or ourselves? And some of the professions that they go on to be. Linguistic intelligence is the ability to use spoken and written language effectively to express oneself. You have seen very, very talkative children, but they are able to express themselves with language. So they enjoy reading. They possess good memory to recall names, dates. I know there are some children and some elders also I have found that every date and name they remember. There are some teachers Past peoples, after 25 years, they visit the school, they will exactly say the name, and they will remember the batch in which they had studied with very, very strong linguistic intelligence. They are capable of convincing and persuading others with their language. They construct ideas and concepts through either the spoken language or the written words. Some of them with this intelligence, some of the professions, they go on to become lawyers, journalists, writers, speakers, politicians, to say the least. Some of us teachers also have very strong linguistic intelligence. I move on to the next one, logical mathematical intelligence. This is the ability to analyze problems logically, work effectively with mathematical operations, and investigate issues using the scientific method. Problem solvers. Any kind of problem that they have, that we face, you tell them, they will solve it and give you. They have the ability to reason out in numbers and calculations, and they have abstract ideas. Sometimes we fear that, the problem papers, the students are not able to do in some of the subjects, we say that. But these students with logical mathematical intelligence, they can create abstract ideas to even to explain simplest of things. They find interest in patterns and categories and relationship between two or more things. They approach to different problems very, very precisely and methodologically. They organize, analyze data, and predict the outcomes. A lot of scientific community, the mathematical community, the bankers, the accountants, the programmers, even the detectives who can predict, they all belong to people with high logical mathematical intelligence. Then there is a musical intelligence. It is the ability to perform, compose, and appreciate musical patterns. So everything to do music and sound, they know. They're interested in singing and listening to music with a critical mind to appreciate music. They're very sensitive to the sounds around them. Sometimes I know in some classes, I have also done it in the classroom, when we are teaching very, very seriously, there is somebody passing by on the veranda and students turn, we say, why are you turning to the veranda? They're very, very sensitive to the smallest sounds. Or there is a bird chirping in the tree outside the classroom. They will turn, give their ear to the sound and not give their ear to our sound. They enjoy learning through music and sometimes through dancing. They're able to create rhythm and music themselves. Sometimes when we are teaching, you will find some students tapping their leg or tapping their hands. So you know that they have intelligence. Don't dismiss them as people good for nothing. Don't inform to the parents in front of their children that your child, I have tried my level best, cannot. So these people enter into the music industry completely. They are musicians, composers, music critics. They are very good at multimedia production. Therefore, they're extremely good with modern technology. They involve themselves in entire music industry as a whole. Then I come to the next intelligence, that is bodily kinesthetic intelligence, or we can also call it as body smart. They have the ability to use the body for expression. They like to use their body every time, full of actions. Their eye movements will be something that is wonderful. They are able to move their limbs, body parts very, very comfortably for different activities. They're able to control and handle their body movements very well. They work well with their legs, hands, and the whole body with good sense of coordination. And they are very, very comfortable with any physical activity that is provided inside the classroom. They'll be very interested in mixing of groups and group discussions so that they can move about and express themselves. They go on to the entire group of sports personalities, great dancers. There are very good dancers in our classrooms. They move on to become athletes, choreographers. Good mechanics they possess bodily kinesthetic intelligence. The actors, there are very many actors, they don't need to move their limbs. With their eyes, they will convey a lot of messages. The sculptors that we see them uh, scaling down different materials, they are very good. Builders, we dismiss most often the people who work in the building industry as people who are not intelligent. They have very, very strong bodily kinesthetic intelligence. We have the visual or spatial intelligence or picture smart. They have the ability to recognize, use and interpret images and patterns, and they're able to reproduce many, many objects in 3 dimensions. They're able to think and visualize color, shape, image, and space. They are very good in drawing, building, designing, creating things. They enjoy playing with computers. They're able to read maps very well, charts and diagrams. They always enjoy a media-rich environment. Today, we are blaming all our students being very, very smart with a smartphone. But a few months back, we disliked the smartphone. Today, we are forcing the students, come on, get a smartphone. You have to attend online classes. Or we force the parents, please do something. Your child is missing out on important lessons because you don't have a smartphone. The world is changing. The students are changing. We need to change. The people with visual spatial intelligence move on to become architects, sculptors, designers, photographers, engineers, industrial designers. Industrial design is gaining a lot of momentum today. Even a small pin has got a design. And people with such intelligence, that is visual or spatial intelligence, are able to do this with ease. Then there is interpersonal intelligence. Have you seen a lot of students who will convince you with their words and with their relationship? They can convince their friends very fast. Some teachers complain that I try to talk this student to change and he does not change. But I tried through his friend and he could change him. Yes, his interpersonal intelligence is very, very strong. They have the ability to understand people's intentions, motivations, and desires. We may be teaching and teaching in the classroom. This student with interpersonal intelligence will be finding out our intentions, how we are motivated, why are we teaching, are we committed? Everything the student will be able to find out. They detect and respond to social moods, motivations and desires. I've come across one situation where a particular class I could not teach well. At the end of the class, one student comes and tells me, I know you taught well, but your mood is not all right. Something has gone wrong with you. You are not that convincing. Very, very strong interpersonal intelligence. They enjoy learning through socializing and conversing. They work well in groups and enjoy peer teaching. Dear teachers, peer teaching is one of those techniques which is very, very useful today. Group discussions today in the industry is the place where they are judging people in order to recruit them. So we need to change. We go on teaching, monologue goes on. We do not give a chance to the students to speak up. And we are failing the interpersonal intelligence students. They share and compare easily with naturally good communication skills. Some of them go on to become therapists, teachers, salespersons, diplomats. Politicians are also very, very strong. They can convince us to vote for them. Diplomats can solve down any kind of problem with their interpersonal intelligence. We read in this morning's paper that China and India have come to some agreement because of diplomacy. Yes, any problem can be solved through a dialogue. People with interpersonal intelligence will teach us. Then the opposite of interpersonal intelligence is intrapersonal intelligence. Most often we dismiss them. We put them into a kind of corner and tell them, doesn't speak up. What can I do? I can't do anything. If the principal asks you or me, we say what? But unless the student speaks to me, how can I help that person? So this is the ability to understand oneself and to interpret and appreciate one's own feelings and motivations. Very, very strong. They possess high self-awareness. They understand well their inner feelings, values, and beliefs through correct thinking process. Their thought process is very, very perfect. They reflect about themselves and the beliefs. So a lot of lessons can be given as part of reflection to students of this nature. They go on to become psychologists, counselors, actors. There are a lot of acting teachers, if you have seen, with silence, only with their movements, they teach plenty of things. They go on to become caregivers. When I say caregivers, we can include them as nurses, nannies, and others. They go on to become very, very reflective writers. They have also wonderful talents. And finally, it's nature smart, naturalistic intelligence. This is the ability to recognize and appreciate the human relationship with the natural world. Yes, they are in love with nature. Sometimes I wonder, since probably because I do not have much of this intelligence, I wonder, some people love animals more than human beings. But lately I recognize that they are also very highly intelligent people, because God's creation is equal, be it human or the rest of the beings, and we need to help it to be protected. And without the naturalistic intelligence people, the human race should have destroyed nature by now. So they recognize and appreciate environment, living beings, and wish to nurture nature. I came across one situation where a friend of mine told me about his brother, saying that this particular brother of mine, he lives in the jungle with the animals. He does not want to come out of that jungle. You bring him out for any family function or anything, he's lost. He wants to rush back. His love is only for nature. We have seen different people who love landscapes, different animal lovers. They enjoy interacting with the surroundings with outdoor activities. They possess care for plants, animals, and they wish to study more about them. They go on to become astronomers, biologists, archaeologists, zoologists, ecologists. Even a gardener in your school or the college has got very, very high naturalistic intelligence. And animal lovers, we see all over today. A lot of videos are coming through in our social media, how animal lovers and nature lovers are trying to protect. So we need to become aware of these 8 intelligences inside our classroom. What does MI theory says? Howard Gardner's interest, he calls upon all educationists like you and me to come forward and find more intelligences and add it to the multiple intelligences. He's open. He says, come on, find more intelligences and bring an add to this multiple intelligence. And all of us, including you and me, including every student who sits either in the front bench or back bench, we have all these intelligences in different degrees with us. But what has happened then? Some of these intelligences have had the opportunity to be expressed. The others, neither the environment has not given the opportunity, nor we have not grabbed the opportunity to exhibit. Today, multiple intelligences has engaged and motivated many, many educationists who are going all out to encourage teachers to introduce the multiple intelligences model in the classroom. That's where my topic is. I've explained to you the last part of it, and I move on to the next. Provide varied opportunity for students who possess different intelligences to varied degrees. As I possess multiple intelligence in different degrees, my students also possess multiple intelligences in different degrees. As I said, some intelligences get the opportunity and some have not. Can we try it out? Yes, please try within yourself that what are those intelligences you have. If you try a particular activity, whether you will succeed or not. Therefore, I move on to multiple intelligences in the classroom. Howard Gardner says, there is not just one way to approach any subject matter. Not just one way. If this 8 variety as of now, and by God's creation, there are more variety inside our classroom, can we teach in just one way and expect the students to understand? My dear teachers, I think we need to rethink our strategy. The host of this program, this webinar, Danisha said that we can teach students in many ways. Howard Gardner says we can teach every discipline in a number of ways. That means more than one way. There are many ways. Again, how do we know which are the ways? My dear teachers, my dear colleagues, you and I have the multiple intelligences within us. We have to use our own multiple intelligence to find out the ways. Does everything ought to be taught in 8 ways? He says, no, it is nonsensical that everything should be taught in 8 ways. One says that we should not be happy with one particular way of approaching the teaching of a particular subject or a topic, because all these intelligent students will not be able to understand. To realize that any topic of importance can be taught in more than one way is the beginning of change in our classrooms. That is the beginning of bringing in more and more ways of teaching and therefore satisfying our students. Now I wish to go on to some studies to prove to you some researches and studies of multiple intelligences and the projects undertaken and their findings to tell you the benefit is vast. So I would ask you the question, why wait? Provide the opportunity. So before that, the opportunity is already shown. There are MI education institutions, multiple intelligences educational institutions. They have applied and implemented the multiple intelligences theory in the entire school and the classroom. In Harvard University, the professors of School of Education have established Project Zero, by which in different schools and colleges, they are introducing multiple intelligences inside the classroom and inside the campus. And what is their finding? They have said that multiple intelligence, application of multiple intelligence inside our classroom and school environment promotes education in diverse art forms. They say their finding shows that it encourages teachers to work in teams. Yes, team teaching could be employed. I have personally tried for some teacher training program, team teaching with one of my teachers rather, who taught me. And it was quite well appreciated. The monotony was destroyed. They were all interested and attentive. It helps for the teachers to complement our own strengths with those of our colleagues. Because I may be strong in 1 or 2 or 3 multiple intelligences. A colleague of mine may be strong in another 1 or 2 or 3 multiple intelligences. And when we help each other, we shall be able to find different ways of teaching the same topic. So application of multiple intelligence encourages institutions to devise rich educational experiences for our students who come from diverse backgrounds. And one of my first slides was our students are unique, they are smart, they come from diverse backgrounds. Let us not be satisfied with one way of teaching our students. Hoare experimented in New City School in USA, multiple intelligences. He brought in reflection, discussion, and change. And they have identified that it has helped the faculty reaffirm their belief that each child has special abilities and talent. Dear teachers, many have told us every day that every child has got talent. But when we enter into the classroom, we forget that. We know that all the students have talents, but inside the classroom, we teach in one way and expect all these talented people to accept the way I'm teaching. We shout at them, keep quiet, children. Keep quiet, students. Don't talk, students. And they expect all of them to pay attention to us without diverting themselves anywhere. Remember, you and I also were inside the classroom. We were also students. Could we? We were distracted. In order to attract them, we need to change our methodology. We need to change our approach because variety of students are inside our classroom. His study has found out it has reinforced the school's principles of students' diversity. And the study has concluded it has brought about affective and experiential learning in all the students. The question arises as to whether you and me wish to teach selective students or we wish to teach all the students. Whether we wish to accept that every child inside my classroom, inside my school is genius, or we wish to glorify ourselves in little successes. We used to go on with little successes, maybe 10%, 20%. Yes, our highest mark in our school is this. Therefore, neglect the lowest mark. We are very proud. We have the highest mark. 10 students have scored 10 out of 10. But my school had 120 students. Why boast only about less than 10% of the students? Are we not supposed to cater to every student whose parents have trusted us and therefore placed them inside our classroom? Greenhawk and his team took up a study in White Marsh Elementary School in Maryland. And it was a longitudinal study. It took place for a few years. So after 5 years, they came up with the results. They could identify school-wide culture of achievement. They could identify and understand that there is great ability in the learners, and the learners realized they themselves have great ability. The use of multiple intelligence built confidence and helped the students to take educational risks. The students could retain more knowledge because they were taught in different ways using multiple intelligences. Teachers initiated unforgettable learning experiences in the students. They were able to assess the students' knowledge more accurately using multiple intelligence. Miguel Gargan and Spencer Gargan, they undertook studies. And they said, presenting the content of a lesson in a number of ways is important for better learning. The ways that engage students' multiple intelligences, the teachers need to identify. So the ways that we are doing, they match with the students' intelligences. Then we'll be able to stretch the intelligences of the students to the maximum. And they found that it created greater depth of understanding in all the students. The teachers who implemented multiple intelligences inside the classroom said, our teaching became richer. And for the students, the learning was more fun. Hickey, another researcher of multiple intelligence, developed and implemented multiple intelligence instruction in a graduate course. And what did he find? He found increase in students' achievement in subjects like history, geography, literature, and music. And believe me, teachers, every subject we can apply only if we show the difference, if we want to show the difference. So it increased the student engagement and participation. For one, I can tell you, we always go on blaming the students that the students are not engaging themselves in the lessons. Because we are so much used to, we stick to our syllabus. We need to go beyond our syllabus and engage them through multiple intelligences. The students were found taking ownership of their own learning because they could identify with themselves what was being taught to them. The students could produce better quality work and therefore better results. Now, dear teachers, I'm coming to specific activities that we can take up in each intelligences. So when I tell you, I come back again to linguistic intelligences or word smart, I would like to tell you, what are they very strong with? The students are very, very strong in reading. Have you seen bookworms? Yes, there are many, many bookworms inside our classroom. Today, we are not providing them the opportunity because we have been sticking to only the syllabus, nothing beyond. They are very good at writing activities. Any activity of writing, they will do wonderfully well. About 3 years back, I got a call from an unknown number. I happened to pick up a person calling from Gujarat and told me, do you remember me? Then I could somehow, by grace or luck, I could identify the student. And that student said, you remember me. You called me one day after my lesson and told me, why don't you take up to writing? You will turn out to be a good writer. And that's about 15, 20 years back, the incident that took place. And she said, my first book is in print. The publisher has accepted. My first novel is in print. My dear teachers, a small ticker at any point of time can trigger a huge interest in the student. I can go on giving you examples. You all know better than me. The experienced teachers, older teachers like me, you will understand how many students we have neglected. And today, when they come to us very, very successful in life, and what do we say? Hey, how did this particular student become successful? I thought he's good for nothing. He couldn't score any marks in any of the subjects. But today they're successful. Remember, teachers, we have failed to give them the opportunity. You look at yourself as a person. You look at yourself as a person who has been provided with failed opportunities while we were students in the school. Very often we think, if I was provided with this opportunity, I should not have been here. I should have gone somewhere else. But why don't we provide opportunities for our students using multiple intelligences? Students with the linguistic intelligences, very, very strong in language, can speak. They are ready to do any activity where they can speak. But we teachers, what are we good at? The best of words that we use are, keep quiet, don't talk. Every time we shout at them for different activities, we are questioning God. Oh my God, why did you create this kind of students and put in my classroom? And invariably, every time I hear from the teachers that, the last batch was better than this batch. I don't know, every year the last batch becomes better. In order to teach a lesson to the current batch, we compare them with the previous batch. We need to identify the intelligence in the current batch of students and concentrate on them. There are some of us, before we enter into a classroom, we say, my God, what a dull class is it? Can the class ever become intelligent? Because you already judged. You already told yourself, judgment is made. Judgment is signed in your mind. So how will you be able to give yourself fully to the students? They enjoy discussing. Linguistic intelligence students, they enjoy discussing. Group discussions and other discussions they enjoy. And above all, you can go for various activities, club activities, like book club, where they read different books and explain to each other. Debate clubs. We organize things. Yes, fine arts competitions, other things. But do we concentrate on these things? Poetry writing, poetry club, storytelling club, pen pal. This concept of pen pal is disappearing. Let me confess to you, dear teachers, I have learned a lot of my language from pen pal writing. The concept of pen pal was there very, very long back. We write letters. Today, the smartphones and social media is destroying the language. Probably if I have to write in social media writing, the word writing, I may not be writing the word writing. Maybe W-R-T-I-N. It's understood. Or I doubt. I have seen somewhere W-R-T-N, writing. It has destroyed. But this pen pal concept was writing letter to different friends. The addresses used to be published in magazines. So we take those addresses and write to them. And when they have very good construction of sentences, I used to borrow those sentences, make them my own, and write to somebody else. Then those construction of sentences have become my own. Today, when I read a document, I like a good sentence. What do? I make it my own, and I use them when I talk. That's what we all do, or when we write something else. And we have the theater clubs. Yes, when we do a lot of acting for annual day and other things, a specific practice, but can we have continuous attention to this kind of activities? Then there's a school and college magazine. Then there are newsletters making the students write and correct it and make them rewrite and go so on. They will improve their language. There comes the linguistic and mathematical intelligence. They are capable, they wish to do tasks for analyzing and application of information. Any information that you give, they'll be able to quickly analyze in their mind and apply them very, very quickly. They are very good for brainstorming of ideas. Sometimes as an activity, instead of giving the topic and explaining the topic, you give them the topic and ask them to brainstorm ideas. I'm sure they'll come up with beautiful ideas. We need only to provide the opportunity. I know most of us, when we are teachers, we say, but the management pressurizes, finish your lessons fast. You need to revise, give them tests. Yes, a mark-oriented management, a mark-oriented education system need to give way to intelligence-oriented education system. Do you and I have contribution in this regard? I say yes. Why? How can we do it? Remember, teachers, you and I, when we enter into the classroom, I, as a teacher, when I enter into the classroom, I am the master of that classroom. Nobody else interferes. My students are longing to interact with this master. My students are longing to learn from this master. My students are longing to learn through different methodologies being employed inside the classroom. So this is one of the methodologies to be employed. They're very strong when you give them activities for calculating probability and numbers. They're very strong in that. The students with the logical mathematical intelligence are very strong in using graphical organizers. They can put graphs very quickly. They can play maths games very quickly. Using science toolkits. In the lab you go, they will be able to handle things very, very fast. Instead of teaching abstract ideas which can be taught inside a lab, we try to explain to them inside the classroom and we fail. It's better that we do not fail. And we use multiple intelligence as a tool for teaching the students. Musical intelligence. They create music. Some of our lessons they can convert into lyrics. They perform a lot of singing and plays. Some very, very difficult lessons for students of this intelligence. Ask them to convert into music. They will remember for their life. These students are learning through music most often. Can we help them? They convert many concepts into lyrics. They will never forget. They may not be writing in full sentences, but today's examination asks for key words, key sentences. If they convert into concepts into lyrics, surely they will be able to do it. They enjoy learning about good music and variety of instruments. If somebody is playing an instrument, they will be very, very attentive. Sometimes you see these students, they will turn somewhere and lend only their ears to you, because they are very, very sensitive to all kinds of sounds, as I told you earlier. Then we have the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. From the picture, you know that they are very interested in acting, any activity of dancing, anything to assemble using their hands, they are very good. They enjoy playing. They enjoy hands-on learning. In the laboratory, students with bodily kinesthetic intelligence will learn perfectly. You ask them to do out any kind of model, they will come out with a beautiful idea. Then there is visual spatial intelligence, or picture smart. You can very well understand they create arts and crafts very well. We have seen a lot of students. Today, all the parents are forcing them, you should know how to learn, and when they get an opportunity, they can. We don't dismiss them at the beginning of their life itself. No, my child is not good at this. Or my students are not good for this. This student is good. Competitions are given preferred to the topmost students because they'll have to bring medal and prizes to the school or the college. But some of them, their multiple intelligence, particularly visual intelligence, is lying idle, not having received the opportunity. Let's find out. They enjoy playing with colors. Can we change our blackboards into colorful boards? That means instead of using only white chalk, we start using colorful chalks for different concepts. Students with spatial intelligence will be attracted towards those colors and their learning will improve. They visualize and they imagine a lot of things. Can we ask them to visualize something when we teach a particular mathematical problem? Visualize a solution. Think about a solution. They will be able to manage. They are able to build shapes and maps. Any concept, they can bring it in one figure. I remember while teaching a lesson, I found a particular student not paying attention, occasionally looking at me, and the rest of the time scribbling something. But I was not teaching some very important points that they had to scribble. When I went in there, that student has drawn a cartoon of myself, and written some of the points that I was teaching. Cartoon is not important. He had already learned what I was teaching. That I was not able to provide for the student for his desire, so he kept scribbling, but the learning has taken place because every important point, whatever important point that I had spoken, he had scribbled it. They are not wrong. Then there is interpersonal intelligence. They enjoy working together. I discussed a lot of it. They enjoy collaborative learning. Peer teaching is very important as a technique for interpersonal intelligence students. Some students learn better with their friends than with the teachers. They are good for solving conflicts. You have a problem in the classroom, the persons with interpersonal intelligence, Miss, Sir, I can give a solution for this. They are excellent people in that. They are very helpful in organizing others. They have special intelligence to organize others. For example, you have your annual day, sports day, and other things. You get this kind of students to organize. They will organize perfectly for you. Every time we teachers want to do, but you give them an opportunity, they will do wonderfully well. Then there is intrapersonal intelligence. Teachers, if you can check the picture, you will understand what it is. It is going inside one's own brain, opening the face off. Though they say face is the mirror of the mind, but I tell you, the mind is more powerful than the face. They enjoy setting goals. You give them targets, they will fulfill it. They enjoy making action plans. You ask them to make a timetable for themselves to study different lessons. They will make and they will follow because they are strong within themselves. They go on reflecting and introspecting, thinking about themselves, thinking about the same thing again and again and again. They form a special value system and a belief within themselves. Yes, last week's program, Father Saji Stephen dealt very much about this forming a belief system within oneself, value system within oneself, so that we can stand very tall in the society, a corrupted society today. And these students with the intrapersonal intelligence can form a very, very strong intelligence. So give them a lot of activities for reflection, a lot of activities to come as action plans, a lot of activities to bring a belief system within them, instead of sticking only to what is written in the textbook. And then coming to the final intelligence, that is the naturalistic intelligence. Nature smart. They observe the nature. I may be teaching, the student will look out if there is rain. The student will look out if some tree is moving, some birds are chirping, some movement of animals are there. They will keep looking outside. So some students need to be taken out in order to teach them. They enjoy record of observations. Systematically, they write about what you're teaching. Record the observations. They enjoy classifying and categorizing. They can separate different parts, categorizing. They enjoy doing that. They enjoy being with nature. They are in with the nature. They don't want to be away from the nature. I gave you an example of how a brother of a friend of mine is living with the nature. So my dear teachers, we teachers make many decisions in and outside the classrooms. We make big decisions and small decisions as teachers. Remember, they all affect our students. I urge upon you that the right decisions we need to take for the young students, and we have accepted responsibility for them. We have accepted to fulfill that responsibility. Yes, when we come for interview for teaching posts, be it in the school or college, what do? Yes, I will do this, I will do this, I will do that. But once we are in the profession, we turn ourselves completely negative. No, I'm busy with that. You know, a lot of excuses we start giving. We are overworked. You know, I'm completely busy. How can you ask me to do this work? Yesterday also you gave me work. Today also you're asking me to give some idea. Now, how much work will I do? I'm too busy. Yes, we are busier than the bees. But please enjoy. Like today, as I was discussing something with one of our faculty, I said, let's rejoice that we have something to do. There are many people who do not know what to do. At least we are privileged as teachers that we know what to do for our students. We know what to do for their growth. And thank God for this privilege to be a teacher. And we have committed ourselves to the overall development of the students. Therefore, we are bound to create joyful and fun-filled learning. I should add a word there. We need to provide the students that much needed opportunity, where the students can express themselves in the best manner possible according to their multiple intelligences. I will tell you here, as I come to the conclusion of it, I will tell you this Mughal et Gagan and Spencer Gagan, in their very, very serious study, they have one thing to say, that multiple intelligences provides the opportunity for us inside the classroom to turn our students, to let our students shine, as infant Anisha said in her opening speech, to make our students shine. For that, one big decision we make that positively impacts our students is the decision to transform our classroom into a multiple intelligences classroom. Deciding to create a multiple intelligences friendly classroom environment, matching, stretching, and celebrating multiple intelligences is the decision to give our students a gift for life. We are at the moment in the online mode of teaching. I know a lot of expressions and methodologies cannot be noticed by the students. And you might ask, is it the right time to take this session on multiple intelligences? But let me tell you, dear teachers, it is never too late. For learning, there is no wrong time. We can always achieve, we can always reflect within ourselves these multiple intelligences and be prepared. You and I together can transform our classrooms into multiple intelligences classroom. You and I together provide opportunity for our students to learn in different ways. Let us not be satisfied by teaching our students in a particular manner, which helps probably one or two intelligence under multiple intelligence, and other six or seven intelligences students we neglect. I request you that let's reflect. If our students are genius, if our students are genius in different ways, how can we grow those geniuses inside our classroom? How can we make them joyful in achieving their own abilities? How can we help them direct their own lives? How can we help them take the right decisions for their life? If we attach ourselves some importance to multiple intelligences, I'm sure, dear teachers, we will be able to succeed. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and I thank the organizers for the opportunity that has been handed over to me.
Thank you, sir, for the great session. You know, sir, as you were mentioning the different intelligences, I was also trying to figure out which intelligences I possess the most, and I'm sure many of us were doing the same. And, sir, you have truly said that we should remember that as teachers, we should do justice to all students, irrespective of any intelligences they possess. We do agree and appreciate with the informative insights that we have received from you today. As you know, sir, the inquisitive minds of the teachers can only be appeased by clarifying their doubts. So, if I have your permission, can I put across a few queries that have been raised by the participants?
Please proceed. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sir. So first question, how can a teacher with a particular intelligence enhance the different intelligences of the students in a class?
Throughout my presentation, at some point of time, I made a remark of this, or a couple of times I said, all of us have all these 8 intelligences in some degrees within us. Now, you and I, we have to say that we have only one type of intelligence or 2 types of intelligences. We have not grabbed the opportunity of experimenting other types of intelligences which are within the multiple intelligences. So, number one, let us not dismiss a teacher as a teacher having only one type of multiple intelligences. I believe we teachers have quite a few types of multiple intelligences. So a teacher who is filled with multiple intelligences will be able to devise methods and strategies to identify in our students the multiple intelligences in them, and therefore strategize different methodologies to quench the thirst, the different thirst of the students according to their abilities. I'm sure it only needs to an attitudinal change to change from this fixed system that we are having, where only marks are important, into shifting to human beings are very, very important. Marks are secondary. Marks belong to a higher order of human beings, genius human beings. So for them, we need to cater to.
Thank you, sir, for giving the apt answers for the teachers. Now, the second question. Some intelligences are academically more appreciated than the others. So, how do we give recognition to the intelligences which do not have enough academic recognition?
Yes, the present system, since the First World War, IQ became famous. The IQ test that we are having now was first experimented on the American soldiers. And since America won the First World War, the IQ test became very, very famous. So we are put into a system where only IQ has become important. And IQ is important where in two intelligences under multiple intelligence, I stated, there is one is linguistic intelligences and the other is logical, mathematical intelligences. Now, how can we move out of this fixed thought and accept the variety that is in the human being, variety inside my classroom, and also identify students with different types of intelligences? And when we are able to identify the students with the different types of intelligences, there is already a big success. The teacher's multiple intelligences has been woken up. And therefore, the teacher will be able to devise various methods to give an opportunity for these students with the different types of intelligences. I'm sure it is possible, only that we need to change our thinking process. The thought process changes, opportunities will be provided by the students themselves. Then we will be able to achieve that.
Thank you, sir. What you said is exactly right. Now, the third question. How can a teacher explain to the parents to accept the different intelligences possessed by their children?
That's a very, very difficult question for me to answer. Once again, my answer will be the same thing, that I, as a teacher, I know my student well. And I do know the expectation of the parents from my student, this very genius student. So what do I need to do? I need to bridge a gap between the parents and the student and begin to explain where our importance of having a good contact with the parents comes in the picture. When the parent is convinced that this teacher of my child is truthful to me, this teacher of my child will tell me the truth and is convinced he or she loves my child, surely the parent will be convinced when we put across. But again, our current system has got a lot of flaws. You and I understand as teachers quite well. We need to overcome this particular problem in order to convince the parents. And our system is quite bad. Those who are in the top level of society, like doctors, engineers, architects, and others, they want their children only to become doctors. That system will have to change. The child as created by God, a human being as created by God with the different types of intelligences need to be provided an opportunity for enhancing that particular intelligence. Have I answered your queries?
Yeah, okay. Thank you,
Yes.
sir. So thank you, sir, for being so patient in clarifying the doubts of our enthusiastic participants. Your session, as well as the responses, was truly inspiring. It will certainly ignite our creativity while taking classes in the future. Thank you, sir. It is said that the best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, but they must be felt by heart. Gratitude is one such expression that needs to be delivered from heart. I now request Mrs. Sindhu Chandran, teacher, Kamal Jyoti High Secondary School, Kolachal, to extend the words of gratitude that can be felt by all.
His Excellency, Reverend Fathers and Sisters, eminent speaker, and my dear fellow teachers, a very good evening to you all. Albert Einstein has mentioned that education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. And so, to train our minds effectively, the Thakalai Diocese Education Commission aptly provides us with a healthy food for thought through its weekly webinar sessions on Teachers Development Program on Educational Foundation and Trends. We are truly refreshed and have immensely benefited from the sessions. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul that makes happy both the giver and the receiver. Hence, I feel extremely happy and honored to have the opportunity to be here on behalf of the Thakalai Diocese Education Commission to propose today's vote of thanks. At first, let me thank the Lord Almighty who has designed and refreshed our souls with a sweet stream of blessings. His unfailing love keeps us marching forward towards a better tomorrow. Thank you is a small word to express our intense gratitude to the patron of this program, His Excellency Ma George Rajendran STB, Bishop of Syro-Malabar Catholic Diocese of Thakalai. It is under his spiritual guidance, moral support and encouragement, we experience the presence of God in our service. I honestly thank you, Your Excellency, for your gracious presence, prayers, and blessings. The effort made by the chief organizer of the program, Very Reverend Father Thomas Pauthaparambil, Vicar General and Secretary of the Education Commission of Thakalai Diocese, is definitely praiseworthy. He is a great visionary who sincerely commits himself in a great way for the overall growth and development of education of the present generation of youth in the diocese. I extend my heartfelt thanks to you, Reverend Father. The views expressed on a complex and novel concept like multiple intelligences have undoubtedly enlightened our minds and have encouraged us to walk a new path with a positive approach. I express my hearty gratitude to our eminent resource person, Dr. S. Isaiah's Principals and Alfonso College of Arts and Science, Karangal, for enabling us to grasp the topic with such ease. Thank you, dear sir, for making this webinar interesting and fruitful. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and a life without prayer is a life without power. I am truly grateful to our beloved Reverend Father Tinu CMI for starting the session by invoking God's blessing, which made the virtual session a fruitful experience for the gathering. I wholeheartedly thank you, dear Father. I also place on record my sincere gratitude to all the esteemed provincials of various congregations and to the respected correspondents and principals of the different schools and college under the Diocese of Thakalai for your enormous cooperation and guidance towards making this webinar a grand success. A very big thank you, Reverend Fathers and Sisters. My special thanks goes to the teachers of Alfonso Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Nagakoil, Sacred Heart Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Padandalamodu, EPGM Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Susaipuram, Jayamada Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kristurajapuram, Pullari Matriculation School, Puttur, Chengotai, St. Mary Central School, Kaliyal, Christ CMI Central School, Anjigramam, Mount Carmel Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Murukot, Carmel Jodi Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kolachal, Carmel Mada Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kanyakumari, St. Michael Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Katadurai, St. Francis of Assisi Primary School, Mayagod, Sacred Heart Metric Higher Secondary School, Kalvantittai, Sacred Heart Nursery and Primary School, Pathugani, John Paul II Public School, Kulashekaram, Sancho English Medium School, Anedi, and all the teachers of Syro Malabar Catholic Tamil schools. My words of gratitude would remain incomplete if I failed to convey my gratefulness to our technical partners, St. Anthony's College, Shillong. I am truly grateful to Reverend Father Joby Joseph SDB, Rector of the college, Reverend Brother Albert Longley, the Principal of the college, Professor Bablu El Raja, and Professor Nathaniel Majao for your unwavering support for this webinar. This program would not have seen the light of the day without your continuous and unfaltering assistance. Thanks to you all. It is now time to say thank you to our program partner for moderating the sessions in a well-organized manner. I express most sincere gratitude to all at St. Alfonso College of Arts and Science, Sosaipuram, Karungal. There is a saying that God has two dwellings, one in heaven and the other in a thankful heart. So, with the thankful heart, I, Mrs. Sindhu, teacher from Carmel Jodi Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Kolachal, take leave. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words of gratitude. Now, before we wind up this session, I would like to remind you all that a feedback form is sent to your mails. Kindly take some time to fill in the form and submit it. Thank you. We will be back with the next session of Teachers Development Program on Educational Foundation and Trends next Friday, 18/9/2020, with an equally informative session. With the faith to see you again next week, I, Infant Danisha, take you leave this evening. Till we meet next, be happy and spread joy. Thank you.
Video. Congratulations.
Lasica, thank you. Beautiful program. Principal sir. Brother Albert is there. Brother Albert.
I need this laptop. I'm not supposed to speak. Okay.
Brother Albert.
Bishop needs to be called. Bishop needs to be called. He is shouting there. Bishop. Yes, he's shouting that 5 minutes is going on. No, countdown is going on. He's the one who is making all the noise. Brother Albert is saying, Principal. I think he has already messaged.